Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy. I hope you're doing really well wherever or whenever in the world that you are, whenever you're finding me. I hope you're well. It is just a little bit after 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. It's dark and gray and rainy. I'm feeling inspired to read. And so let's do a 48-hour reading vlog, a little weekend reading vlog. For my May reading roulette game, which is a TBR game that I play at the beginning of every month to figure out what books I'm gonna read. I'll link it above. I ended up choosing quite a few book reading prompts that could apply to shorter books. And so I'm thinking about reading as many of those as I possibly can. One of my reading roulette picks was a poetry with a favorite trope. So I still haven't quite solidified in my brain what I might read, but I could pick something up in this reading vlog to fit that prompt. Another reading roulette selection was a graphic novel by a BIPOC author. And I'm thinking about maybe reading a couple of manga. I ended up buying two, and I'll turn my camera around in just a minute so I can show you. But I might read one or more of those. I also need to pick up a poetry collection from an LGBTQIA+ author, and I have one in mind. I think I might listen to the audio because I don't have the physical copy. For Independent Bookstore Day, I picked up a couple of like itty bitty fantasy books. Both of them look to be maybe even under 100 pages. So I could pick up those. So I don't know. I'm feeling like there's lots of little things that I could pick up. And the completionist in me is really looking forward to that because I love the idea of reading all day. And instead of just reading one book, maybe checking off a few. Alrighty, here's some of the books that I'm thinking of reading today. These two right here, Fireheart Tiger and A Dragon of Innis. I picked those up during Independent Bookstore Day, and they are both so short. So I might pick these up today. We shall see. I also picked up a couple of manga. I feel like I've heard good things about Spy Family. One Piece is pretty iconic. And then I also, just for like my own nostalgia, picked up the first volume of Sailor Moon. So I might read some or all of those. I also, kind of in my research, stumbled upon this one called Ghost Roast. Sorry, there's a plane going by. Hold please. Sorry about that. I live very close to an airport, and every once in a while, the planes just like feel louder than other times. Okay, so like I was saying, I picked up Ghost Roast. This is basically, I think, like a spin off of Ghostbusters, where you've got this teenage girl and her dad is essentially a Ghostbuster, and she's been trying to avoid the family business. And she's in high school, and she ends up getting in trouble, and like as a punishment, she has to like, I guess, go on this ghosty mission. I'm not sure. It just sounds kind of like light and funny. So yeah, that's a little bit of my bookish hoard. I feel like a pirate. I'm like, look at my bookish bounty. These are some of the things that I'm thinking of picking up. I'm also listening to the third book in the Kindred's Curse series by Penn Cole. I believe it's called Heat in the Everflame. As always, I'll put the cover up here. I hadn't realized how freaking long this sequel is. On Goodreads, it says like the Kindle version is over 1,000 pages. What have I gotten myself into? Who does Penn Cole think they are? Brandon Sanderson? So anyways, I'm only about halfway through there. I'm enjoying it. I've really had fun with this series. Essentially, you've got this girl and her whole life thinks that she's a human and she's a healer, and kind of unexpectedly she learns that she is not human, and she sort of is thrust into this world of descendants who have magic, and they're very much giving like the capital from Hunger Games. Like they're rich and hoity-toity and spoiled and kind of extravagant in their style, and they're just, as a human, she doesn't like the descendants because the descendants are like the ruling power. The humans tend to be really marginalized and they're really struggling in this world. And there's a lot of animosity between the humans and the descendants. And so kind of throughout the books, not only are you following this girl as she's growing into like who she is and learning and understanding her magic, but there's also some like bigger picture things around like the politics in the world, and there's an upcoming war and like all that stuff. And so I'm finding it quite interesting. This third book is feeling a little bit drawn out. Like there's plot points, like there's beats, if you will, that you can kind of see from 100 miles away. And it takes, so like you as the reader know what's going on for way longer than the characters do. And I think that just creates, instead of this feeling of tension, it sort of is creating for me this tension of like impatience. Like, okay, yeah, of course this is what's going on. Like, why did it take you so long to figure it out? So I'm not enjoying this third book quite as much as I've enjoyed the first two. But like I said, I'm only halfway through, so there's still so much book to go. So I might like listen to that as I'm doing things around the house, or if I go out to do errands. And yeah, I think that's kind of like all the things that I'm thinking about reading or I'm currently reading. Obviously, if I pick up anything impulsively, I'll share with you guys on here. And yeah, so I'm very excited to just relax and kind of have a really cozy day or weekend, I guess. There are a few things like on my social calendar this evening. I mean, I guess a little bit weather dependent. We are going on a booze cruise. It's a really interesting idea. An acquaintance of mine, I think it's their birthday, and they have this idea to try and rent out the booze cruise to like only people that she knows. And they're doing it sort of like, 6 points of connection. So as you get the invitation, you send the invitation to people that you know in hopes that like we can rent out this whole boat. And so I ended up getting this invitation from one of my sisters and, passed it along. And so I'm curious to see just like how many people we end up knowing on this boat. Like that's kind of a funny idea. I don't know. Anyway, so that's going to be on the plans this evening. I think we take off or launch, push off. I don't know what the boating terms would be. Around 7:30. Tomorrow, I'm also doing a little bit of Topgolf, which will be fun. I may go to the movies to see the new movie. Oh my God, with Zendaya. Challengers, I think, the tennis movie. So I might go see that tomorrow. And yeah, those are kind of my only plans, I think, for the weekend, which I love that for me. So much time for reading. In just a few minutes, I'm going to make myself some coffee, maybe tidy up a little bit. I feel like this week was pretty chaotic, and so there's just things everywhere. So I might do a quick tidy and maybe make some breakfast, although I'm not quite super hungry yet. We shall see. I don't know. I'm rambling. Okay, let's begin. Alrighty, hello. It's been about an hour, I think, since we last checked in. I got a little sidetracked on TikTok. I'm like in the mess of getting all of the TikToks about the women in the woods, man versus bear stuff, and also that weirdo kicker guy who gave the worst graduation speech of all time, and a few other niches. So anyways, I was spiraling a little bit on TikTok, but we're back. Yeah, I was watching things because I couldn't really read while I was eating. Anywho, okay, so I've decided to pick up this guy first, and I'm about 30 pages in, and it's funny so far. The dragon in this story, it like talks, and it's a very mischievous little dragon, and this Night Violet, he has to keep going back and forth because this dragon is stealing all the stuff. And now there's a baker and she's missing. So I wonder what will happen next. It's been fun. I'm enjoying myself. So I'm going to keep reading. And yeah, I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Alrighty, hello. It is, I think, just about 2:30. I finished The Dragon of Insis. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a very sweet little tale. It's very heartwarming. It's very much a beautiful, warm hug. The author, I read the afterword, the author is genderqueer and identifies as aromantic and asexual. And there's also some trans and lesbian representation throughout characters in the story. There's just a lot of themes about like acceptance and trying to figure out who you are and how to build community and the power of connection and friendship and, just like seeking to understand people who are different from you and who are similar to you, and just like the power of representation in story, not only in how it can help like you see yourself differently or like feel more heard and seen and understood, but also like the power that creates in like building empathy and perspective taking. And yeah, I just think it's very sweet. I really enjoyed it. It's a quick read. It's like just over 100 pages. It's just very charming. So I think if you're like me and it's a kind of dreary, rainy day and you're looking for like a really feel-good story, this is such a good one to pick up. I don't know how like widely available it is. If I can find a link to it, I'll, do that maybe through bookshop.org or something like that, because again, this definitely feels like a very like small published kind of story. It was originally published through a publishing company called LT3, which I guess was an LGBTQIA like publisher specifically. But I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm just like not sure how widely available it is, but if you can get your hands on it, it's great. So I think what I'm gonna do next, I did take a little cat nap in the middle of the day here. Reading physically is tiring on your eyeballs. I don't do it very often because I'm a big audio girly. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make myself a little bit of lunch. I might head down to like the mailroom to pick up a package. I might do a little food shop just because my fridge is looking a bit sparse, but I also could put that off till tomorrow just because it's gross out and I don't feel like venturing out before I need to. So yeah, look, in this moment, I've decided I'll wait till tomorrow to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna do some of those things and I'm gonna think about what I wanna read next, and I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. I can't remember if I mentioned this book while I was like showing all of the physical books that I've purchased recently. This is called Feeding Ghosts. It's a graphic memoir. I don't really know too much about it or the author, Tessa Hulse, I think, but I had previously read Good Talk, which is also a graphic memoir, and thought it was so fascinating. And so this one had, good reviews. So I was curious and I figured I would pick it up. So I could eventually pick this guy up. Or gal up. Alrighty, I made myself a little fried rice. I put an egg in it. Looks and smells delicious. Add a little soy sauce and a little sriracha mayo. So I'm gonna dig into this. I think I'm gonna pick up the poetry collection by, I believe the author's name is Jasmine Mans, but it's called Black Girl Call Home. And so I think I have the audio. So I think I'm gonna start listening to that kind of as I eat. And I'll check in a bit. Hello, it is about 4:30 now. I just finished Black Girl Call Home and it was wonderful. There were some really like heartbreaking, like emotional, visceral poems. There were a lot of one-line poems that like I haven't had to listen to a few times because they were like so poignant, just like, I don't know, they just had something powerful to say, even though it was only a few words. She's a spoken word poet, but there was only some of the poems that really had that like rhythm of like, I'm performing spoken word. Otherwise, she was just kind of reading them like, like any kind of like normal narrator. Yeah, I'm so glad that I picked it up. It was really, really good. On Goodreads, I'll include some of my favorite poems because I was taking note of them as I was listening. This might be a poetry collection that I would do. I would listen as you read the physical book because The audio comes with the PDF because there's a few poems that have like visuals. And so I sort of wish that I had that with me as I was reading. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really good. There's poems about love and pain and family and tradition and teachings and lesson learned. And yeah, it was really good. I'm really, really glad that I read it. So I highly recommend if you've not picked it up. It's great. I'm like in a great mood. I want to keep reading. The rain has picked up a bit. I'm hoping that it stops in a couple of hours for us to go on this boat, but we shall see. So I think I'm going to pick up a manga in just a few minutes. I think I want to start with Sailor Moon, just because it has such a nostalgic place in my heart. I think that's what I'm going to start with. But of course, like I'll check in if I decide to pick up something different. I think I might order tacos in a little bit because although I'm not starving because I had kind of a late lunch, I want to make sure I have a pretty substantial hearty meal before we go on our little booze cruise around town. I want to make sure I'm not doing that on an empty stomach. So I'll do that in a little bit. At some point, I'm going to shower and get ready. I had a whole outfit in mind, a very nautical themed like dress and all of this, and I'm not sure it's going to be great for this weather. So I think I might wear something a little more comfortable, like more practical for the rain and like the wind. I might bring a poncho, so we shall see. Anyways, all that to say is I really enjoyed Black Girl Call Home. It was great. I'm excited to keep reading. If I had known the weather was going to be this bad, I don't think I'd want to go on this booze cruise, but we bought the tickets like a month or so ago. You know, like when you make plans too far in advance and they sound great in the moment, but then like the day that they're here, you're like, why did I do that? It's kind of how I'm feeling right now, but it's fine. We're going to have so much fun. All will be well. All right, yeah. Off to the next read. Okay, hello again. I'm a few acts into Sailor Moon. Guys, this is so fun. It is really bringing me back. It's like making me want to go onto Amazon Prime just to purchase this TV show and like rewatch it. Sorry, I'm grabbing a bookmark, but oh my God, it's been so much fun. It's really bringing me back. It's definitely dated. Like I can feel that it's from the 90s, but that's kind of what I was looking for. So my food's about to get here, so I'm going to eat, start getting ready. I don't know how much more today I'm going to check in with you. I can't imagine I'm going to read too much more, but if I do read anything, of course I'll check in. I'll try and get some B-roll while we're on the boat, I guess, if I remember. So yeah, I think that's going to be kind of like where I leave off today, unless of course, like I said, I read more. But yeah, Sailor Moon's been really fun. I'm really glad that I'm reading it. So anywho, all right, off to get my food. Hello. It is just about 7. I actually figured I'd come in and do one more check before we go out for the evening. I listened while I was getting ready to quite a bit more of Heat of the Everflame, which is the 3rd book in the Kindred's Cursed series. And I know when I first mentioned it, I was feeling like kind of frustrated because things were just feeling really drawn out and I just felt like nothing was really happening. And I'm on part 3 now, and I'm finally feeling like some things that are interesting are starting to happen. And so I'm kind of back in it. And I'm like, okay, this is such a classic like fantasy romance situation where like the first two-thirds of the book, you're kind of like, okay, whatever. And then the final third is like so fun and so much more fast-paced. So I feel that same pattern happening in this book, but I'm not mad about it. It was really fun. It's an interesting world and an interesting magic system. And I think if you like some of those like very quintessential tropes of like a chosen one and sort of the like enemies to lovers. I mean, I put enemies in quotes because it's not really that, but I think that's how it's pitched in the description. But yeah, it's been fun. It's a good one. All that to say is now I definitely think I'm done reading because we're going to go out. We'll be out for a while. We may go out afterwards, kind of depending on how we're feeling and the weather. So I don't anticipate reading anything else for real this time. So I will see you guys in the morning. The next day. It is late in the afternoon. I think it's just about 4 o'clock. I have been tired today. I'm not as young as I once was. We had so much fun on the boat yesterday. We went out afterwards and it was just full of laughter and catching up, and we just had so much fun. I'm definitely feeling it today though. Throughout this morning and this afternoon, I've been kind of on and off listening to the Heat of the Everflame book. I feel like I've been listening to it nonstop and I'm still, got like 9 hours left to listen. I am having a lot of fun with this book and with this series, but kind of my opinion about how things are feeling drawn out is like still very present. I just finished a chapter where like there was a reveal that I had predicted back in the first book. So it's kind of like things are pretty obvious. So I think if you can set that aside, if you decide to pick this up and just kind of embrace whatever comes, I think you'll still have fun reading it. So in just a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead to start my little carpool. I'm picking up a few people along the way because we're going to Topgolf, which I haven't done in a long time, but my sister's best friend is in town and they've been doing stuff all day long. So this is the part that I'm gonna join for. So I think we're gonna do dinner. I'm not sure. I'll of course take you guys along. And this evening, if I continue to read more, we'll continue to check in. So that's my only update for now. I'll see you guys in a little. Editing Andy here. I did not read anything else this day or the rest of the weekend for that matter. So enjoy this brief clip of us golfing and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.